king, I am not a god, I am Humpty!
What's good YouTube and welcome Tano. In today's video I will show you how to build your Rhino for level 0 to 9999 enemies in Warframe, making sure your overguard scales from 0 to 27 million and more. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to reading your feedback in the comment section below. Let me show you what he's capable of. $17 million overguard, let's go! No. 9 million. Ooh, 27 million overguard, guys. 27 million. 27 million. Let's go, baby. I need more. Welcome back, Tano. I hope you enjoyed the speedrun. If you did, hit the like button, much appreciated. Now, as always, we take beginners friendly approach for Thanos, maybe new to the game or they're trying to get into Rhino. Now, passive emits a shockwave dealing 100 damage after landing from great height. Now that damage will be impact, and it can benefit from the heavy impact mod for your Warframe. And now for Rhino first ability, Rhino Charge. Rhino charges towards a target, clobbering any in his path and goring his victim. This ability deals any impact and it has a radius. Now when you hit the enemies with your Rhino Charge, there is an impact damage. Now this impact damage can be multiplied by casting the same ability in a certain window. First cast, and then the second cast will be 2x damage multiplier with 50% energy cost reduction, and then if you hit again in the combo window, you will have 4x the damage of the ability multiplied and with 75% energy reduction. And of course the energy reduction is affected by streamline and any ability efficiency. And if you hit an enemy while you're under the effect of Iron Skin, you will deal blast damage, and if you hit an enemy that's affected by Rhino Stomp, you will deal 100% more damage. And now it has an augment called Ironclad Charge, Rhino Charge Augment. Each enemy hits increase Rhino armor rating by 50% for 10 seconds. Of course, the more enemies you hit, the more armor you will have. Rhino second ability, Iron Skin. Now, you will harden yourself and you become invulnerable for 3 seconds. After that 3 seconds, you will receive Overguard. That Overguard is affected by your ability strength and armor. Now, this ability is greater than that actually, because you can make it scale better. How? Now, when you're under the 3 seconds of Iron Skin and you are invulnerable, the damage you'll be taking, okay, will contribute towards Overguard, but this time you will add your base HP, the strength you have, the armor you have, and then the amount of damage yet you taken, which is the damage absorbed. Makes it really scalable Iron Skin for Overguard. Now remember, now Overguard will not save you forever, alright? I mean, 27 million even took like 4 or 5 shots at level cap, but I will talk to you in depth later on how you can refill, how you can do that, and so on. Now, it has an augment called Iron Shrapnel. Iron Skin Augment. Recasting Iron Skin will cause it to detonate, dealing 100% of its remaining health as puncture damage and knock down enemies. Now, this is insane. Now remember, if you have 27 million, right, 27 million overguard, and you recast this, imagine that the damage you'll be dealing. Okay, now you don't want to do that. You want to have as much overguard as possible, all right? You're not going to be nuking using Iron Shrapnel level cap. You're not going to be doing that. That's stupid. Now what you're going to be doing is every time you feel your overguard almost done, okay, you recast. So Iron Shrapnel is a must-have in Rhino, to be honest. If you're gonna go for high-level content, low-level content, mid-level content, you can skip using it. Rhino third ability, Roar. You buff yourself and your allies with a damage buff. Now, this damage affects your abilities, also your weapons. And this damage works as a faction damage, actually. Alright, makes it really amazing. Now, it is additive with other faction mods, for example, Bane of Oricane, Corpus, whatever. It's additive to that. Now, it is multiplicative toward other source of damages. Makes it really an amazing ability. Now, you can't recast this ability unless you're using the augment Piercing Roar. Roar augment Roar gain plus 40% range to give it to your allies. Enemies within 25 meters are knocked down and suffer 5 stacks of puncture stats. It's really nice when if you want like to consider it as a CC when every time you cast your Roar. And now for Rhino, fourth ability, Rhino Stomp. You stomp the ground, you lift enemies in the air, and they're gonna be like ragdolled in a status of trembling. Now, this ability deals blast damage and slows enemy 80 until it reaches 97.5%. And it has a radius of 25 meters, makes it really amazing CC ability even for the end game. But the damage doesn't scale and kill level cap. Now, this ability is good and bad for two reasons. Now, it's good if you plan on playing something like, let's say, Void Cascade, but there is a lot of enemies beside you before you cast Rhino Stomp, so you can contribute toward the Equalizer. Now, it is good when you play, like, for example, the Disruption for around the Demolish and those kind of enemies and stuff like that, but it's very bad when it comes to surviving or collecting loot, or you're planning on farming something and grinding or camping or something like that, because you're going to be lifting enemies and your Tano friends will not like it. If you're playing solo, I don't care, but if you play with other players, be careful using Rhino Stomp with so high range, alright? I've seen a lot of rhinos ruining a lot of rounds with Rhino Stomp with so high range, so think about that. Now, the augment, reinforcing stomp, Rhino Stomp augment, Iron Skin health is replenished by 4% for each enemy affected. Now, this is really amazing. So you don't have to build for high range to benefit from reinforced stomp. Yes, it's affecting how many enemies around, but technically, if you use the Rhino Stomp, you will replenish percentage of your overguard, okay? But still, you will be locking in enemies in so far distance, okay? Now, you need to consider how you want to play a Rhino Stomp. Now, let's talk about the abilities and how you choose which one scales with you to level cap. So based on your request, you wanted me to talk about each Warframe abilities and how they actually scale to level cap. Now, let's start with the passive. The passive, it doesn't matter because when you jump, you land, you get the shockwave, impact, that doesn't matter. Now, let's skip to Iron Skin and Roar, and then we come back to the other ones. Iron Skin is how you're going to stay alive, the overguard, and so on and so on and so on. You can't get rid of it, okay? If you're not going to be using Iron Skin, just play something else. Now, Roar is a must-have. It's your damage dealing ability, okay? You're actually taking it off to put it in another Warframe. Imagine like taking it off in its main Warframe. Okay, now, when it comes to Helmet ability, you got two options here. Either you're going to replace Rhino Charge or you're going to replace Rhino Stomp. Now, this is a decision you have to make on what style you're playing your Rhino. Now, if you're playing your Rhino as a Rhino charging, okay, alright, you're gonna play Rhino Charge using the Ironclad Charge for the armor to contribute to your Iron Skin, okay? So you're gonna be charging the enemies, you're gonna get more Iron Skin because you're gonna get more armor and stuff like that. The second way you can build Rhino is based on CC using Rhino Stomp. Okay, so you're gonna be stomping enemies, lifting them up, and then you'll be killing them, I don't care how. Okay, with your weapons, your anything you want. Okay, and then you'll be putting a helmet ability in Rhino Charge. Okay, so it's a decision you have to make. So in conclusion, if you want to build Rhino with total tank, you keep Rhino Charge. Okay, and you put a helmet ability in Rhino Stomp. If you want to build them as a CC tank, you put a helmet ability instead of Rhino Charge, and you keep Rhino Stomp with a decent amount of range, and that's how you want to play him, and depends on the content and what you're playing for. But Iron Skin alone is something you don't change at all. I hope this clears it to help you build a Rhino in your favorite way. Of course, you can keep them all and you don't use any helmet ability if that's what you decide. And here we are, and it's time for the build. And since we reached 18,000 subscribers, this is my gift for you, as I will give you two builds, one utilizing the first ability and one utilizing the fourth abilities. Now, let's go. Starting with Brief Respite. Brief Respite, the energy you spent on abilities will be converted to shields. That will contribute to our shield gating. Now, understand me for a second. We have a lot of overguard, and then we have our shield, and then we have our HP. Now, your overguard when you reach level cap, they will be depleting here and there. You get the point here. So even if your overguard is down and you can't cast your second ability for a reason, you still have your shield. And you can move away and you cast your Iron Skin, and that Iron Skin energy spent will be converted to shield. So no matter what, you will be always having invulnerability, overguard, shield back, and your HP will be intact. Now, what is shieldgate? Shieldgate is the moment you lose your shield, you enter a gate phase, where we call it a shield break. You become invulnerable for a certain amount of seconds, depends on how much shield you have, okay? For our case, we have 555 shield, will be invulnerable for 1.7 seconds. Simple as that. So as long as you have shields and you replenish them, you get hit, you replenish, because Warframe, not like any other game, it doesn't matter how much damage you take, alright? You keep going forward. It doesn't matter how much damage you take, as much you have shield, you'll be good to go. Power drift for ability strength. Now we're not going to be using premature footed in here because overguard prevent you from getting knocked down. Rolling guard for bad and certain situations, like I don't know, you face nullifiers, anything, or a lot of trucks is hitting you, you run out of overguard, no energy. This will help you a lot and cleanse you from all statue effect, especially toxin, because toxin will bypass your shield. Umbral fiber for armor, of course, so to contribute to our Iron Skin. Primed continuity for duration. Primed Umbral intensify for strength. Transfer 2 for strength minus duration. Iron shrapnel to recast our Iron Skin. And primed flow for energy max. Ironclad for more armor per enemy hit. As you can see right here, armor increase 112% per enemy hit. Now that's insane, because yes, it's not only 50%, it scales with ability strength. Arcane energize for energy. Arcane precision, it depends on the weapon you're using, alright? Depends. Now for example, if I'm using secondary, I'll be go this one. If I'm using a melee, I will switch it to fury. Okay, this one, you switch it, depends on you want. If you want to go a bit harder, you can just go like Arcane Tanker, okay? Just right about here. On Argan equipped 1200 armor for 600 seconds. Or you can go, for example, for the Arcane Guardian on damage, 50% chance for... You can play around that. But I prefer you to put a damage ability in here. Or you can just put Molt right about here. Molt Augment for more strength, contributing to everything and all your abilities right about here. The damage increase from roll will be 112%. It's less... it's higher than your subsumable helmet one, because that's how it works in Warframe. Alright, so this is build 1. We're gonna be using the Nourish. Nourish will proc fire on our attacks and will give us more energy. Now, you don't have to use your Nourish, alright? Depends on what you want. For example, if I want to CC enemies, I will be using, for example, Ensnare from Korra, or I can use Gloom from Sephagoth. I can use Dispenser if I want more energy. I can use Resonator to distract enemies. I can use Terrify to armor strip enemies and terrify them around the map. Of course, you have to find a spot where you're going to be using the augment in there. You can use a lot of options in here, alright? Whatever you want, guys, okay? It's just the build required to use Nourish for my weapons, because my weapons are built for corrosive. So this is not something written on a stone. You can flip it, change it, depends on what you want, even though you're gonna still have the energy increase multiplier by Nourish. Now, the second build will be vice versa. The second build, we will put a helmet ability on the first, and then we're gonna keep our fourth ability. We'll show you both builds now. Brief Respite, same thing. Pop, 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 pop. Everything is the same. Now here we go to Reinforcing Stomp, because we don't have a lot of armor, okay? We keep replenishing that overguard using the Reinforced Stomp. Now, we're going to be using Reinforced Stomp with 190 range. That's 47.5 meters. That's insanely crazy. Now, Arcane Energize, Arcane Guardian, you don't have to use it. You want to use actually Fury. That was for testing right there. Because the helmet ability I'm going to be using instead of the first ability will be Wrathful Advance from Kullervo. Melee critical chance, 208%. Okay, and yes, you can switch it to any helmet ability you want. Depends on your style and what you want to do. So let's go back to the first build now, and then I'm going to show you both of them real quick. Now, for the Archon shards, you really can play anything you want. So this is my style of play. You don't have to copy it exactly unless you want to play the same style as me. Now, 2 Emerald Archon shards to push the corrosive stacks from 10 to 14 from any source except your companion, okay? So my weapons, if they modded for corrosive, they will armor strip enemies without relying on any helmet ability or your Nairo focus school. Simple as that. You can flip them to anything else you want if you're going to use, for example, instead of Nourish, Terrify, Pillage, whatever, to armor strip the enemies. Now, the other Archon shards, I'm using two Azure Tau Force for armor. You can flip them to, for example, I don't know, secondary critical chance or statue or whatever you want. Flip them to anything you want. Now, Tau Forge Amber Archon Shard for casting speed. I want to cast my abilities really fast. And that's pretty much it. Now, companions, you can use whatever you want. I have a lot of videos and builds for companions that can actually kill level cap. So check them out in the channel. Now, let me show you some in Simulacrum. And now we will not showcase this when enemies are paused because that doesn't make really sense. So what you're gonna do, I'm gonna just cast my Iron Skin really quick. Alright, just get some energy. Okay. And then just like I wanna try to align them unless I'm like using Magos Anomaly. Okay, you can use Magos Anomaly to gather them in. Alright, and you can utilize that. So as you can see, I am invulnerable. Alright, so then I wanna use my first ability and I got like 675% like more armor, and now I got 60,000, and you can extend that and extend that and extend that, depends on the enemies that's hitting you. For example, if we summon a stronger enemies like Thrax Centurions, for example, right about here, all right, and then I just like go Iron Skin first. There you go, and then I just hit them for 700 something, and then they're gonna start hitting and activating Iron Skin once more. I'll be able to have 300,000 Iron Skin, and it will be scaling and so on and so on and so on. So that's like the whole idea of the meta. But make sure like your first ability hits as many enemies as possible. So I highly recommend using Magos Anomaly or aligning enemies in a perfect like there we go. I'm gonna use it once more, and boom, we got like 170,000 because our armor wasn't enough like the first time. Now the armor should be enough. All right, let's see. They didn't hit us. Okay, there you go, 160,000 and stuff like that, and then you'll be killing them, and that's pretty much how we're gonna be playing Rhino. Now in the second style where we're gonna be playing Rhino with the second build is like so. All right, go. Now remember, I'm not using any of my weapons. All right, let me summon these guys. Quick, heavy corrupted gunners level 225 steel pipe edition. Now pretty much the same thing. Iron Skin always first, doesn't matter how much armor you have. Okay, and we got like 16,000. Okay, now we don't have the first ability to get our more armor and stuff like that, but the stronger enemies hit us, the more Iron Skin you will have, and it scales really well with level cap. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna be using our roar, and then we're gonna be using fourth ability. And pretty much that's it. This is like the end game for them. Like 8 seconds and more, they are in the sky. You're gonna be using Wrathful Advance, and you're gonna be killing them however you really desire. Okay, so imagine having, for example, a glaive. Let me just equip glaive really quick. Right, the glaive build is in the channel, the galvanized glaive. Soon I'm gonna give you guys the Falcor build. There we go, getting some Iron Skin in there. Okay, and then Wrathful Advance, and then roar, and then stomping them in the sky, and check this out. Look at that. Boom. Boom. And then we got, when we get our, there you go, melee influence in, they're pretty much down. So you just want to know how far we can stomp. So the ability is like 47. So that's like 17 meters. 30, 40. So look how far I'll be stomping them. Look at this. You see how far the CC ability and how powerful it is? Okay? It's really crazy. And I can recast it. And now there is a small trick about this build where when you cast your Iron Skin before your fourth ability, which that's how you're gonna be playing, and then when the moment you get Iron Overguard, boom, you pick up enemies in the air. You don't wait. And then you're gonna be replenishing your Overguard using your fourth ability, and then you're just pretty much gonna be killing them using, for example, Wrathful Advance from Calervo, and you're just gonna be glaving them, or like dual Icor, or using any weapon that you really want. Okay, now this is like a small showcase, guys, for abilities. This is nothing or how you actually gonna be playing, but I try to explain it as best as I can. All right, there you go. Look at that. Boom, boom. So the distance is really crazy, and that's exactly what I meant when I said earlier when I was showcasing the abilities. you play with other Thanos. For example, they're camping in right here, okay? And if they're using, for example, speed vow or something, and you're just gonna be like using the fourth ability. Look, from here, I managed to I managed to miss CC enemies right about here, like around 47 meters, and that's big, guys, and that's big and can ruin a lot of runs for especially for farming, so keep that in mind. And now for the conclusion, Rhino is a must-have Warframe. He's a legendary, he's the vanilla, and I think he's one of the best Warframes in the game. He's just a bit underrated and overwhelmed by a lot of meta Warframes. Now, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for making 18,000 subscribers happen. Big love to you all, and let's go 19, 20, 25, 30. Let's break the internet and make sure every Tano knows about the channel. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Follow me on Twitch, join our Discord link in the description. Peace and love, and stomp them all!